New York is one of those places you either love or you hate it instantly. I've said before that I've never met a boring New Yorker, and she just like screamed, and I'm like, yeah, she's not from here. Like, supposed to help you make money, I hear.
Rub those cojones, my man.
$4,500 was the median rent in Manhattan right now. Rats or cockroaches, you're probably gonna get at least one. This is like one of those hidden gems of the city. And we're talking about crime, and they're like, oh, check this out. I think this is the best city in the world. I think there's by far the most things to do here.
I just want to get this view because this is incredible. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, coming at you live from the capital of the world. We are here in New York City. We are in beautiful Battery Park right now in Lower Manhattan. Joining me today is a man who is an expert in everything New York City. He is the owner of the YouTube channel Here Be Barr, one of the biggest YouTube channels when it comes to lifestyle in New York. The leader of the barrio, Mr. John Barr. How are you, John?
I'm good. You talked me up way too much, but I'm doing great, thanks.
Good to see you, man. How long have you lived here in New York?
I moved to New York in October of 2011, so it'll be 12 years in the fall.
Wow. And how has that 12 years been for you, would you say?
I mean, it's been interesting because when I moved here, I lived in a tiny, like 350 square foot apartment in Greenwich Village with my twin brother, and I was single, and then I met my girlfriend, became fiance, became wife. We lived together in that same apartment. Then we moved to Brooklyn. Now we have a baby. So I feel like I've been through a lot of those steps of New York City, like the single life and married life, now family life. So yeah, I've been through a lot.
You know what's crazy? I've been here, I was telling you before, I've been here for 48 hours. And I don't know if it's like an imposter thing, I feel right at home.
I've heard that from people before. I think that New York is one of those places you either love or you hate it instantly, and it doesn't take you very long to figure that out. And I hear that a lot from my viewers, that they feel like a part of them belongs in New York. It's, I don't know, something in the air, the electricity, the diversity, but I mean, I felt like that pretty much right away also when I moved here, so I know what you're going through. Speaking
of, you know, beautiful New York, look at this view. I mean, this is incredible.
One World Trade right there.
This is incredible. And we had the Statue of Liberty behind us earlier. I don't know if you noticed. Man, so I've obviously heard a lot about New York, especially during COVID. It was all over the news. Everybody was talking about New York, and in a very negative connotation. So pretty much everything I know about New York, or everything I knew about New York before coming here, was that it's a very expensive place to live. There are rats everywhere. There is crime everywhere. The subway is the most unsafe place on planet Earth.
Dead pigeons too.
Dead pigeons. I'm not going to show that because I might get demonetized. But that's what I heard about this city. And being here for the last 2 days, that's complete. Like, if you took bull crap and horse crap and mix it together, that's what you would get.
Well, I think there is some truth to those statements. It is very expensive. I think you really would, well, I don't know what kind of tourism you're doing, but it is very easy to spend a lot of money here, and if you're paying rent, that adds up. And the rats, I mean, they exist. You're not going to see them every day, but when you do, it's an experience. I think people have lived here long enough, are just used to it. I was sitting at a bar. It's actually not that far from here, and there was a rat running past our table, and I didn't even flinch, and there was this girl, and she was like right next to me, and she just like screamed, and I'm like, yeah, she's not from here. Like, we're used to the rats. The crime is a whole topic. I mean, yeah, crime is up. Like, I'd be lying to you if I didn't say that, but I don't think it's as widespread as the media portrays it. I mean, the media is going to report crime. It's always news if somebody gets shoved onto the subway tracks. It's very tragic. There's a lot of issues with mental illness in New York, drug abuse, and you know, there's going to be that sort of crime in the subway, but I don't think it's anywhere near as rampant as is, you know, characterized in the media, because the media is never reporting good news. They're not reporting like a day like today.
Never.
I don't know.
And not just, I don't want to even say it's only traditional media, it's also social media. What I've been hearing on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, it's all the negative stuff associated with New York. And it's just, that's what I thought it was when I came here. So I came here, I met so many people, and they're incredible.
Yeah.
They're such great people. They're so interesting.
You know, I've said before that I've never met a boring New Yorker. That everybody here has a story, that if you can put up with a lot of the stuff to live here, then you're probably interesting. But yeah, you know, the negative sells on social media. You and I know that better than anybody, that if I put a video out about scams and ripoffs and tourist traps, it's probably gonna get a lot more attention than my 10 favorite things about living in New York. And that's why it goes viral, and that's why it feels like it's in your face all the time, because showing a video of a crime happening in New York is gonna get 1 million views.
I mean, just looking now, there are pigeons flying, there are people feeding the pigeons, everyone's just hanging out, doing their own thing. What's this building we're coming up here now?
I believe it is the Museum of, is it the Native American Museum?
Wow.
National Archives, National Museum of the American Indian. That's what it is with the Smithsonian.
Oh, the Smithsonian, okay.
Never been inside, actually. I need to go.
Wow.
Oh, we could show people one of the, I don't want to use the word tourist trap, but I am going to use it, the charging bull. People love taking photos next to this.
Oh, that's here.
It's right there, and I can already see the line.
Oh, okay, yeah. I haven't seen this yet either. I've heard this is a really, really big tourist trap. I actually think I saw it in your video. Yeah, when you talked about it.
I'm not that impressed with it. I think there's cooler things you could take photos of in New York, but I think a lot of like New York City tourism is honestly bucket list. Many people come here only once in their lives or twice, and somebody told them they have to go see this. I saw it on Instagram, and you know, I don't know. They say it's good luck if you rub the lower region of the bull, shall we say?
The lower region of the bull.
You'll see what they're doing.
The pills.
Yeah.
The cojones.
The cojones. Yes,
cojones.
That's the word. That's the word I was looking for.
I've seen a lot of tourist traps, especially when I was in Times Square. I mean, I was like, holy crap, this is insane. I'm from Istanbul, and I've seen a lot of scams and tourist traps in Istanbul as well.
Yeah.
And I would say, comparing the two side by side, I would say Istanbul's probably worse.
Okay.
But New Yorkers, they're not as aggressive, I would say. I mean, at least in the last 2 days that I've seen.
I'm curious, what's the worst scam in Istanbul? I want to know if it's worse than New York's worst scams.
So what they will do is, there are mosques in Istanbul, and people go in them, tourists go in them all the time. And people will come up to you and say, oh, they're poor, they're victims of an ongoing war, and they're stuck here in Turkey, and they need money to get back home, to go to the embassy to get back home. And they'll ask you for money, and they'll like give you a sob story.
Oh, we have versions of that in the at the bus stations too.
But the reason I think it's worse is because they use religion to prey on it.
Yeah.
The reason I know that is I fell prey to that before in my life. I paid a guy 50 lira back in 2010 because he gave me the sob story, and I bought that. And I feel like an idiot to this day. But
happens to the best of us.
Yeah, well, I learned from that, you know, and definitely. This is the bull, eh?
This is the bull.
Look at that. It isn't that crowded.
Yeah, I've seen the line way worse. Come around Christmas time. My wife's aunt and uncle came, and they did what that little boy in front was doing. She jumped on top of the bull.
It's kind of strange. You come and you take a photo with, you know,
the cojones.
The cojones of a steel bull.
It's supposed to help you make money, I hear? I don't know. A lot of future rich people in line.
Well, I hope everyone here makes a lot of money after taking this photo. Yes. Rub those cojones, my man.
Oh, there's two sides.
There is the line.
So there is
the line.
So I think it might be 2 lines here.
Okay.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Las Vegas, where you have like different lines forming for the Welcome to Vegas sign.
We're just like walking in the middle of the road right now. Just casually.
You know, I was telling you before we started that we can go this way, that nobody would even bat an eye to you having like a selfie stick and a GoPro. I've seen like 3 other people doing similar stuff already. And you know how many live streamers are in New York? There must be at least like 30 YouTube channels who just walk around filming stuff every day.
I've seen a lot of those videos, just people walking around filming Times Square of their walk. And it's kind of interesting because, man, YouTube, I mean, we're both YouTubers, so like we know the vast array of content that's available on YouTube and gets watched. It's always really interesting to me. I was listening to a podcast the other day about this, and there is a direct correlation with, I believe they said it was people with autism and elevator videos.
Like just watching elevators going up?
Watching elevators going up, because apparently there's some kind of symmetrical correlation in the brain that makes them want to watch that kind of those kinds of videos. And there's a guy who's literally making a killing by posting videos about elevators.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a niche. I remember one of my first real aha moments on YouTube. I was at this conference for like bloggers and vloggers, and there was a guy, and he told me what his channel name was, and I looked it up, and it was something about getting haircuts. So I'm assuming that this guy is like Anthony Bourdain, and he's going to these old school barbers and he's having conversations with them about the way things used to be. No, he just sits there and gets a haircut. No talking whatsoever. It was strictly ASMR. I didn't know that was a thing. ASMR is such a huge niche on YouTube. You could just film yourself getting haircuts. A friend of mine, he gets massages, he gets like earwax removed, and he gets hundreds of thousands of views. It's nuts.
It's insane. Now you can make literally content about anything nowadays. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Good, good, good. Take care, guys. Yeah? With John? Hey.
Sure.
I'm like, I didn't want to interrupt your video, but we're like, oh my gosh! Yes, it's so cool.
Where are you guys from?
Sacramento, California.
Right on. Welcome to New York.
Thank you. And we saw your videos were here, but then my family is from Ivy Peak, so in Mexico.
Oh, Mexico, okay.
And so I was like, oh, we saw your other videos, so. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, so.
Well, enjoy yourself.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye. All right, that never happens. That never happens.
That was awesome. That was awesome. Great timing on that. Great timing on that.
I paid him to do that.
Wow. You never know what's going to happen, eh? Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, you know, you make videos long enough, someone's going to watch them sooner or later, you see?
We got that entire interaction on camera too.
You did.
Perfect.
We cut this way.
I'm gonna cut this way. And you were talking about Anthony Bourdain earlier, the legend. I noticed you made a video about him today, actually, right? You made a video about him today. And when I was listening to Anthony Bourdain talk about New York, and he specifically said you should have two things when you come to New York. You should have the deli, eat the deli, and also have dirty water hot dogs.
Okay. I think that's great advice. I think he said that New York, the one thing they did better than anywhere else in the world was like the pastrami sandwich. He was a big fan of Katz's. My favorite deli is actually Sarge's in Midtown. I think that's more of a local's choice, but it's a controversial pick. Most of the tourists go to Katz's, so I think if you want that experience, if you want that photo, do it. But the dirty water dog, I mean, yeah, it's iconic, but I think if you go to like the wrong vendor, it might not be a good experience, because I always tell my viewers these stories that if some vendors, not most, if they sense you're a tourist, they'll charge you whatever they want for a hot dog if you don't ask them what the price is first. It's true. I've had viewers tell me they paid $8, $15 for a hot dog.
Jeez.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, get a hot dog. I've done a video about the best hot dogs in New York. There's a guy named Billy. He's a Greek immigrant, and he is right by Central Park. I think it's like 86th Street. Just find the video if you're interested. And he does incredible dirty water dogs, and he's super nice, and he'll chat with you, and he gets like none of the attention that these like viral street food trucks get. And yeah, that would be an experience I would tell people to try if they're interested in dirty water dog. Look up Billy's Hot Dogs. Cut this way.
Billy's Hot Dogs.
Billy's Hot Dogs, yeah.
I want to ask you a question. So earlier today, I had a slice of red velvet cake. I paid $12 for it.
Okay.
Did I get scammed?
Where?
It was near that e-bike place. Just across the street from it. I forget the name.
I mean, you saw the price first, right?
No.
Well, how did you order?
I just said I want that cake and a cappuccino.
Like at a cafe or a card?
At a cafe. At a cafe.
I think you just got a tourist. I mean, I think you just got the local price. Like, I think that's what they're charging for it in Midtown. I would say that's a ripoff, but I wouldn't say you got scammed. Scam to me would be like ordering a hot dog and a Coke and him charging you like $25. I just think you got the price for, you know, Midtown.
Yeah, it wasn't really that good, to be honest. So, you know, but it is what it is.
Yeah, a lot of tourists also go wild over the cheesecake, and I don't know many local New Yorkers that go out of their way to have New York cheesecake. Like, I don't know. I only heard about that when I started making videos about the city, where everyone was telling me about their favorite cheesecake spots, and I talked to my like native New Yorker friends. Most of them were like, "Yeah, we don't really care." We'll cut this way.
I want to get into a little more of the juicier stuff that I've been hearing. Crime when it comes to New York City. Obviously, this is the capital of the world. This is the modern day Rome, right? There is people from all walks of life here.
It's true.
There's always crime in big city, but what do you think about the current situation of crime right now in New York?
I mean, I think on the one hand, we said it a bit before, it's overblown by the media because sensational stuff like that does get attention. But crime is up, and I don't think it's just a New York City problem. It's a American problem. I don't know about Canada, but in the US, almost every big city has seen a surge in crime since COVID. I think the city is trying to get it under wraps, but maybe not doing the best job. A lot of locals will complain about it. I have seen more police in the subway. That is something that has changed probably in the last 6 months or so. We can cross here.
I just want to switch sides because I want to switch arms.
Sure.
My arm's starting to get tired.
Yeah.
There we go.
But definitely more police presence in the city. But, you know, I'm not gonna paint some rosy picture and say that if you come to New York, nothing's gonna happen to you. You really have to be situationally aware here more than many other places in the US. And you really gotta be aware of your surroundings here because anything could happen.
And when you talk about crime and saying anything could happen, what kind of crimes are you referring to? It's like specifically.
I would say I don't have statistics on this, but probably the worst thing that you could run into is somebody who's mentally ill or on drugs having some kind of an episode or I don't know what the terminology would be, and you just happening to be at the wrong place in the wrong time if somebody decides to get violent. You know, this isn't a place where we're necessarily hearing about like crazy amounts of shootings or stabbings. Like the random assault, I think, is what scares most New Yorkers. Is like you're just going about your day and some guy like socks you, or you hear about that sometimes. I think that scares locals, or being stuck on a train with somebody who's mentally unstable and, you know, does God knows what. I think that's like the biggest fear for me and for my wife, and she travels. I'm always like worried about stuff like that. But like as far as like robberies, I think that's more targeted towards retail stores and is getting out of hand here. I think that's what you see on the news a lot, which is true. Shoplifting is out of control in this city. They literally have to chain they have to like chain toothpaste. I don't know how it is in Canada, but here, go to a CVS and try to buy toothpaste or aftershave, and you tell me what you have to do. And you tell me if it's like that in like Montreal. I want to know.
I've never seen that before like that.
Let's go up here.
Oh, up here?
Yeah.
Ooh. All right.
So this is a cool.
Switch sides back again.
Sure. See, that is absolutely true. That like shoplifting out of control, people robbing stores, definitely happening. I know those numbers are up from a few years ago, but most of that stuff's not really targeting tourists. So
let me ask you a different question.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel unsafe in this city, or does your wife ever feel unsafe in this city as a female?
Absolutely. You know, absolutely. You could be walking by somebody on your side of the street and they're just acting up. You know, something is wrong, mentally unstable. You'll see it a lot in Midtown, and there could be moments where like, okay, I gotta pay attention to this. I gotta make sure this guy's not gonna do something, and luckily that has not happened to me. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't ever afraid for a few seconds. Like, you have to kind of be alert. I think if you're not afraid, you're probably not paying attention.
It's actually a very good quote.
Yeah.
Just in general, if you're not afraid, not paying attention.
Yeah, but when I say afraid, it's not like I'm shivering, it's just I'm alert and I'm ready. So is there a little fear there? Yeah. Does it happen all the time? No, but it happens. You know, in a city like this, you're gonna run into stuff. So you just always gotta be aware, no matter where you are, no matter what time it is.
Speaking of where we are right now, we are in this beautiful garden. I mean, this is awesome. Wow.
We're talking about crime, and they're like, oh, check this out.
Where are we right now?
So this is one of my favorite hidden gems in all of New York. It's called the Elevated Acre. It's probably one of the worst kept secrets in New York because like every TikTok or Instagrammer, YouTuber has been here before. So it's this hidden park in the middle of the financial district. So you get beautiful views of the East River, the Brooklyn Bridge, Manhattan Bridge, and you're surrounded by these skyscrapers around you. So it always tends to impress people that visit for the first time. So
that view is about as gorgeous as it gets.
And it just rained before, so I actually think it looks even nicer now.
Maybe we'll see a rainbow.
Maybe.
And then we'll have people in the comments hating on it, saying we're woke, just because we got a rainbow on camera.
Jeez.
No, I feel like some people like nowadays just want things to hate on online. It is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. And this is a very nice green space right here.
Oh yeah, you could have a picnic here. You could probably play sports. I've filmed here for my YouTube channel many times. So whenever I'm in FiDi, always walk around here with people.
Wow. This is very nice.
Yeah.
And during the weekend, I'm imagining there's a lot of people here just doing their thing.
You know what? I rarely ever see this place crowded. As nice as it is, I don't see many people here, I'm telling you.
Wow.
I think during the week, like lunchtime, you might see some people here. But weekends, nah. I'm happy it's in Lower Manhattan and not in Midtown. If this park was in Midtown, it'd be mobbed.
How far are we right now from Midtown?
If you want to take the subway, probably like 15 minutes.
Okay.
If you want to walk, I don't know, 40 maybe, wow. 45. Depends how fast you walk.
Speaking of the subway, by the way, great segue into the subway.
Yeah.
So I've heard from other people, like other YouTubers, they've made videos about the New York subway, calling it the worst subway system in the world, which I know is not true because I live in Toronto.
Okay.
And the subway system there is absolutely horrid on every level. But of course, it's not as old as a New York City subway. There are some stations I've seen that have like mold on the walls that are very old. What do you think is the current state of the New York subway? Are there going to be any expansions happening? What's the current crime, what's the current situation on crime in the subway as well? I'm just curious about those things.
Well, as far as a subway is concerned, I think the issue with New York is it's very dirty. I think that's why people think it's the worst. And there's a lot of issues with trains not running on time. Like, it's all true. So they just opened up an extension to Grand Central at 42nd Street, which was a huge undertaking, very expensive. And I think what annoys a lot of locals is that you get these big new projects. We were in the Oculus Mall before. That's a nice subway station there too. And then you see these old ass stations like Chambers Street. And I filmed a video on this before about like, inside the worst subway stations in New York. And they're beyond disgusting, where you start to wonder like, well, you know, where's the city's money going? I'm even curious why that station looks the way it does. There are stations that absolutely look like you're in a developing country. And then you have some newer ones which look sparkling. So I don't think we have the worst subway in the world. It runs okay, generally speaking, if I'm trying to get somewhere and it tells me what time it's going to arrive. Pretty good. There are breakdowns every now and then. I think it gets a bad rap because it's easy, because it's New York. It's easy to kick New York if you don't like it.
I would argue, actually, the New York subway, I mean, just seeing the map of it alone is one of the best in the world. Just because of the sheer amount of stations and the places you can go in the city just using the subway.
I mean, it's dirty. You're gonna run into some characters down there. I think I would put it this way. The New York City subway gets the job done. I don't know if it still is compared to some other cities, but It runs 24/7, which is a big deal for many people I hear coming from other spots.
Toronto doesn't have 24/7 subway service. So 1 a.m. it's done.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
I mean, then again, I would ask, why do you want to take the subway at 3 a.m. if no one's on there? I might not recommend it if you're like a woman traveling by yourself, but I think the subway serves its purpose. I think it's very iconic. I think it needs a lot of work, clearly. But I don't think it's the worst in the world. Now, as far as crime in the subway, I do think that the extra police presence isn't hurting, and I think I read something that they were going to install like cameras on a lot of the subway cars. Now, again, what's a camera going to do for you? If you're in trouble, it's going to film it. It's not going to be there to protect you. So I wouldn't say that the subway is like extra violent these days, but you just never know here. That's what I always tell people. Like, you never know what's going to happen on any given day, and you just have to always be on top of everything. You can't zone out. But I don't think there's some like vicious crime spree going on the subways where I would tell my viewers, don't ride the subway, at least like, before midnight when there's still a lot of people around. I just think it's overblown.
So, John, what are we looking at here?
So this was, I believe, at one point, the largest digital clock in the world, and it's on the side of this building on Water Street. And so you look up and you see the 7 in red and the 21 in blue, so it's 7:21. And then you see the green moving, and that's the seconds. So I came by here for so many years and I never knew what this was. I never even paid attention to it. And then one day for a video, I talked about it, and now every time I walk by, I look up. It's kind of wild.
This is awesome. I never would have thought this is actually a clock until you explained it.
Yeah. And like in true New York fashion, it's been around for 50 years, so it's not working 100%. You see how some of the numbers are lit up, like the 4 and the 12, but close enough.
I mean, if it worked 100%, it wouldn't really be here.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
Please don't take offense to that joke, guys. Just, just roasting here a little bit, having good fun. I mean, seriously though, like we were just talking earlier, how literally everywhere you turn, there's a story. There's something to be told. There's something interesting going on.
Yeah, and it's amazing because if you compare New York to a London, like this really isn't that old of a city. But like all the history that's occurred here, and I think more like all the interesting people that have lived here. Yeah, I mean, you just hear wild stories. I don't know, go to any food truck, and if someone is an immigrant who's running it, you're probably gonna hear a good story from them. You're gonna hear a good story from like anybody. As I said, everyone's got a story in this city.
I was talking to my mom before I came here, and I was like, pretty much everyone who's any kind of famous, rich person has been to New York at some point.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. Like, a lot of people will live here at some point in their lives just to say that they have.
Another interesting thing going on right there.
Pickleball.
Pickleball.
Yeah, pickleball is like taking the city by storm. I know how popular it is right now, but I'm starting to see these courts everywhere. I even saw this video about how some apartment came with its own pickleball court. Like, craziness. But yeah, like as you were saying about famous people coming here, I think a good example is any big concert, always going to be at least one show in the New York City area. And like art installations, exhibits, New York. I don't want to say New York is the center of the world, but
it is definitely.
I don't want to say it's not the center of the world. I don't want to sound like the typical arrogant New Yorker, but
as someone who's not a New Yorker, I think New York is the capital of the world.
All right,
100%.
You said it first. I agree with you.
That's a condom.
That is a condom.
Speaking of that,
you never know what you're going to find here. I don't want to know how it got there, but
interesting.
So you said you wanted people. This is a South Street Seaport, and this is one of the older parts of New York City, and they have it looking like it did. I don't know, I'm not really a history YouTube channel, but think like 1800s. Now, granted, there was no Belgian fries truck back then, but you see the cobblestones, and it's actually on a nice night like tonight. We got Barbie. I mean, look, everyone's dressed up like Barbie here.
Free promotion.
Yeah, free promotion, but look at the buildings.
You got these old, like little smaller buildings here, overlooked by the skyscrapers right behind them. Wow. You have
a cocktail bar right in the middle with pina colada machines. Got everything you could possibly want.
See, everywhere I look, there's something interesting going on, which is probably why it costs so much to live here.
Yeah. Put it to you this way, if you didn't have so many interesting things going on, I don't know why people would spend so much money to live here, but there's no shortage of interesting stuff like this random boxing going on.
Everywhere you go.
Actually, let's go this way. I want to see if something's open. You know what I think is so unique to New York? Maybe you've noticed it today. Did one person have a problem with you filming in public?
Not one.
I think people here are just so used to cameras that like nothing phases them.
You're gonna get on this side?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I mean,
I don't think, well, I haven't had a problem with filming actually, I had one problem filming in Montreal in public.
Yeah.
And other than that, like no problems in Toronto either. Like other than that, nothing. And yeah, I mean, I think I was just like walking with my camera, and I think the guy was like rolling a joint as I was walking. So like, he's like, what is this guy doing? What is he doing? And he was just like kind of cursing me out.
You film in public long enough, something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
But I guess my point was that no one even batted an eye, and that, you know, when I started on YouTube in 2016, people would give you weird looks for filming like in public. It was strange, and I'm just, I'm happy with the way the world has changed. Maybe it's not all good that everyone's always filming, but like, to do our kind of career, it's really not that bad.
You know, interestingly, the other day I had lunch near Times Square, and I reviewed what I was eating.
Yeah.
And there was a gentleman who was sitting at the other side of the room.
Yeah.
And after his meal was done, he came over to me and actually started talking to me because he was interested in what I was filming. And he said he hadn't been to this restaurant in a very long time, and this was the first time he was back.
Yeah.
And now that he was back, he still didn't like the food, because I think he heard that I didn't like the food either.
Did alarm go off? I was about to say this is usually open during the day, but I don't know if we just triggered an alarm. It's actually open to the public.
Let's go.
This walk.
Let's go.
All right. I was like, we didn't trigger an alarm, did we?
I don't think so. I mean, if we did, I guess we'll just leave.
No, but normally you can walk here. It's called Cannon's Walk. I don't know. Is it working?
Yeah, we're good.
This is a really cool spot. I filmed here before. This is like one of those hidden gems of the city. Wow. I think you're just willing to go for it. Yeah, so you could walk through here. Okay.
Yeah, we're good. Seaport Museum.
Yeah, this is the back of one of the museums here. But I just thought this is one of like the coolest little hidden spots, because if you look up how those buildings are, it's like you're in some old colonial courtyard.
Wow, it really does feel colonial here. Like, I feel like, have you ever played Assassin's Creed?
No.
No? I feel like this is like one of those places in an Assassin's Creed game where Ezio would climb the walls right now.
Hey, there's only one, well, you can get this vibe in Boston, but I'll tell you where I feel it the most, like Philly. Philly and New York actually have a lot in common. As we triggered this alarm here, but
let's close the store behind us.
Ironically, we talk about crime in New York. We may have just committed a crime. I don't know.
I really hope not.
No, this is open to the public. I'm telling you.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
No harm, no foul.
We're good. Do you think New York real estate prices are going to keep going up? And is it sustainable if it does?
I'm not a broker, but it's just like, I feel like it has to hit a peak at some point. At some point, people have to say this is too much. We can go this way, but I just talked about this on a video, how I think prices were at an all-time high this May. Something like $4,500 was the median rent in Manhattan right now. It's just...
For a one-bedroom.
I think it was a one-bedroom. But again, the problem is you have these like $10,000 luxury apartments kind of messing up the numbers a little bit. But I would say to find a one-bedroom right now in Manhattan under $3,000 in like a really in-demand area would be very difficult. It would be so hard.
I'm curious about one thing. So in Toronto, where I used to live, I was there for 11 years. University of Toronto, the downtown campus, a lot of students who attend the University of Toronto, if they don't live with their parents, they will rent places and they will room with like 3-4 other people. Okay. The students who go to NYU or like Columbia, are they doing the same thing?
So
say?
I think a lot of them live in dorms like early on. And then like, for example, I had a bunch of NYU kids living above us in my first apartment in Greenwich Village. Yeah, they'll definitely put a lot of people into an apartment. That's not even just common for NYU students. It's actually very common for newcomers to New York in general, where they'll put 4 people in a 2-bedroom apartment because that's the only way you can really afford it. It's very common here.
So 4 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment for like what, like $4 grand? Not like a month?
That's a pretty good number we could throw out there. Let's go with that.
So $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
You get to, but like you share a room for $1,000 a month.
Probably sharing a room, probably sharing a bathroom.
Bathroom sharing with 4 people.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That sounds fun, right?
Any rats involved in the equation?
Rats or cockroaches, you're probably gonna get at least one, so pick your poison there, I don't know.
Wow, so what's this here? The Tin Building by Jean-Georges.
I don't even know what this is, but we've got the Brooklyn Bridge right there. That's what's catching my eye.
Oh, I didn't even notice that, wow. I know Jean-Georges, I believe he mentored Gordon Ramsay back in his early days.
This is one of those like big trends in New York right now, are these food marketplaces, the food halls. There's a lot of money in this. And obviously with a location facing the Brooklyn Bridge, you probably can charge a lot of money.
That's an amazing view. Wow. And speaking of earlier about people not batting eyes to filming, I just saw a lady look at us in a weird way.
Uh-oh.
That's the first one I guess we got after like, what, 40 minutes of footage? I think we're good.
It's probably it's like the selfie stick. All these tourists taking over. Honestly, I have no idea what this is. The first time I've been back here. And that's like very New York for you. Unless you're absolutely on top of all the openings, and there are Instagrammers who are, I'm not. I'll be like, when did this pop up here? The city's always changing. There's a lot of money being pumped in here. And there's so many new developments, new marketplaces. Even I walk around my old neighborhood in Manhattan, the Village, always new stuff. There's always something new. And a lot of places can't survive because the rent for commercial real estate's insane as well. So that's the thing, you spend a lot of money, but you always have something new to spend your money on.
What one advice would you give to someone who just moved to New York?
Oof. I gotta think about that one. I would say...
Sorry, before you say anything,
sure.
I just want to get this view because this is incredible. I mean, wow.
I've actually never been to this little park here, so I'm taking it in too, just like you.
Wow. I kind of just want to go for a swim right now.
No, you don't. No, you do not.
Like 100 different diseases.
You will be immune to every single disease possible for the rest of your life. You'll be immune to diseases that haven't even started yet.
See, I would talk about the C word right now, about a certain disease, but I think if I do, it's going to get instantly demonetized.
That's it. YouTube's taking all the money from that video.
Wow.
I just learned something new, honestly. I didn't know about this little park. I don't know how long this little, sponsored by Heineken River Deck, has been here. This is gorgeous.
This is incredible.
I'm coming back here. See, I learned something new today myself.
And you've been here 12 years.
And I'm actively going out filming these sorts of things too. Like I wanna film this, but I do want to get back to your question.
Good. We're good. We're chilling.
About best advice I ever someone moving here. I would say try to make friends as quickly as possible. That there's really no excuse not to make friends here. I know some people aren't super social. You might be shy. Like whatever your interests are, I promise you'll find somebody else who has the same interests. And I think once I started to make friends after I moved to the city, that's where you really make the most memories. I know it's common sense advice and all, but I think having a good friend group and a good support group, you put up with almost anything. It's just good to complain to other people too. Complain about the high prices.
The high prices.
And you can explore places like this. So yeah, I would just say make quality friends if you can. And that's the thing about New York. It's easy to make friends, it's hard to keep friends because so many people come here for a small period of time and they leave. So
do people leave that quickly? Like, why is there like a very high turnover rate?
A lot of it's is financial. I think that they realize that they can get more for their money in other cities or states or countries. A lot of times it's for a job that didn't work out and they leave after that. Some people just never really, I don't know, don't fall in love with the city. They're tired of living in a small apartment, being crammed like sardines, or taking the subway everywhere, or crime bothers them. So many reasons. But normally it's, the biggest one I see is family. You have a bunch of kids and you want more space. That's the typical one.
You were saying earlier how, I mean, we were talking about the whole video pretty much high rent, cockroaches, rats.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, like, crime is obviously a problem here.
Yeah.
But you were also saying how you wouldn't live anywhere else.
I wouldn't, you know, I've thought about that. I really can't tell you one other city, at least in the United States, that I would want to live in. Like, if I have to live in the US, I'm gonna live in New York. I wanna live in the best city that there is. I think this is the best city in the world. I think there's by far the most things to do here, and I think the people are what make New York what it is.
I've been here 48 hours, and I can agree with you saying it's the best city in the world. Like,
yeah, I mean,
I'm sold. I am 100% sold.
I mean, there's something for everybody here, but I think what makes this city really special are the native New Yorkers, the ones that grew up here. Those are usually my favorites. I get along very well with them, because, you know, I'm from North Jersey. I didn't grow up here. I came here a lot, but
I don't know what's going on over here.
Some kind of an event.
Someone's getting an award.
It's like a nice party.
See, everywhere you turn, there's something interesting going on.
Oh, yeah.
Incredible. Incredible. Sorry, you were saying the native New Yorkers.
Yeah, no, I really love the native New Yorkers. I love meeting them and getting their perspectives on things. And I think that maybe sometimes they're the ones who are most jaded because they've lived here and they've seen the prices skyrocket. And they've really probably seen in their lifetimes how New York has become so popular in the last, I don't know, 20 years. You know, people didn't want to come here in the 80s when there was a real crime problem. And you look at it now and how built up it is, and maybe they're not going to recognize it, but I do think that it's still a special place.
Wow.
That's why they call it the Circle Line, huh?
Circle Line. Look at that. Very good turn. That nice.
Yeah.
The captain is doing work. Very good turn on that. What else do those native New Yorkers say about the city? Good and bad.
I mean, they're the ones who will fight. Like, it's funny. They'll complain the most about it, but they'll defend it the most too. And don't even try to argue with them about like best pizza, best bagel spot. They probably have a place they've been going to since they were a kid, and they'll fight you to the death on that one. But yeah, they will have the most pride in New York. They spent so many years here, kind of have to. They really do.
Speaking of pizza, other day, my first day I was here actually, I was walking and I go to this restaurant and I walked in and I asked for this pizza that I saw with mushrooms on it with some ricotta cheese.
Yeah.
And I tried it and it was the best pizza I've ever had in my entire life. The best, hands down. And yeah. I knew right away, I'm like, I'm not gonna be able to enjoy pizza anymore when I go back to Canada because I'm gonna be comparing it to this. Right? And after I made that video got thousands of comments. People are giving me advice on the best pizzeria in town. Okay. The number one answer that I saw in the overwhelming majority of comments was Joe's Pizza.
Oh no. I'll tell you what, I think Joe's is good if you want to get that like stereotypical New York City slice and Ninja Turtle slice, fine, but I don't know any locals who are gonna tell you that Joe's is the best slice in the city. That sounds to me like a tourist answer. I mean, I'll tell you a spot because there's so many different types of pizza in the city. If you just want an old school joint where the owner's probably gonna be there, go to Luigi's in Park Slope and get one of their slices and enjoy that experience with the old school owner there. That's what I want you to do for me.
Luigi's.
Luigi's Pizza, yeah.
Okay, I will do that. I will do that, and I will film the experience too. Because now I'm interested in doing it too. What's up, man?
How are you guy that does like the turn for you?
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Okay. So I had no idea you existed, but I'm like teaching at a school here, it's like a summer camp for Italians. We had to show you the videos, and they're like fantastic, really informational.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, they're really sick.
Tell the Italians grazie.
I will. I will.
Tell them I said that.
I'll tell them I found you.
Take care.
It's number 3.
Oh my God, I'm real. It was funny, I had someone say to me once, he said, oh my God, you're real. I'm like, yeah, I'm a real person. I'm not an AI creation by the New York City Tourism Board.
Wow. Man, so I was just gonna say, like we were talking about, like we were going from topic to topic. One topic ended, the next one just came to us, literally. The next one just came to us. How often do you get recognized on the streets like this?
I don't know, maybe like a few times a week. Like in my neighborhood in Brooklyn, not as often. I think it's more common in Manhattan, like more touristy spots. I think a lot of tourists watch my channel, but I don't feel like a celebrity or anything. I mean, people say hi sometimes, but I rarely get someone who's just like starstruck. Like that's nice. I don't think I could deal with that. But yeah, I mean, it's nice for people to come up to me and say they watch the videos, and if I help them, plan their trip here, that makes me smile.
Have you ever had any bad fan interactions?
Like in person?
In person.
I don't think I've ever had anything bad happen in person. Maybe someone disagreed with one of my picks, but they like ribbed me about it. But like in person, no, I don't think I don't really do too much negative content, so I don't think I would get too much negativity. But
let's keep it that way, guys.
Let's keep it that way.
Keep it that way.
Should I want to knock on wood here, man. I'm like, all right, let's keep it that way, please.
What's this truck doing here? Just randomly.
That's a great question. Let's go ask him.
Powered by biodiesel. Yeah, let's ask him. Let's ask him what he's doing.
Probably something with like, I don't know, sanitation.
Hey, man. Hey, what's going on here? Just out of curiosity. What's going on here? Just out of curiosity. This truck. Is it a garbage truck? Yeah, it's a garbage truck. All right, thank you. I didn't realize he was eating right there.
Yeah, you caught him at the worst possible moment.
At the worst possible moment. That was horrible. Okay, that was bad.
That wasn't that bad.
He was cool. He was cool.
Yeah.
What bridge are we under right now with this purple ceiling?
I don't think this is a bridge. I think this is the FDR. I think it's a highway. Yeah. Nearest bridge, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Williamsburg, in that direction. But yeah, this is actually a really nice walk. I don't walk under here as often as I should. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to ask about YouTube, but sorry, you were going to say something.
No, I was going to say these restaurants have beautiful views, but they're very expensive.
I mean, probably because the view is so nice, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, I know, like, for example, in Toronto, they're starting to have, at least they were when I left, they were starting to have, I guess, creator get-togethers once or twice a month. They were hosting these events where creators, like TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all come together, have a drink. Does anything like that? I mean, I'm sure it happens in New York. Do you go to anything like that here?
I feel like the YouTube community in New York isn't a huge one. I think there's a lot more of the short form creators. So like I'm in like a group with a lot of the Instagram and TikTok people. But I actually did go to a creator meetup last week at a rooftop bar, and I thought it was so cool. And I wish we did more of that, but I don't think there's enough of a community of creators here. And
why do you think that is?
I don't know. That's a good question. I don't think it's like a fear of competition, because people here do want to collaborate. I just think no one has found a good way to do it, that we're all so busy hustling that, like, who has the time to arrange these meetups if you're so busy doing your own work? At least that's why I don't arrange it, but I don't know. Good question.
Well, hopefully they will, as YouTube grows more and more, hopefully they will host more and more events here and YouTube will get bigger.
I hope so. I do. I love meeting other creators for sure.
And I think we are gonna call it here, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to John's YouTube channel, Here Be Barr, leader of the barrio.
Ali, thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. Great talking to you, man.
You too.